harmony, where soul meets source and healing unfolds beyond the physical. I'm your host, Anya, and today we are opening the door to something truly extraordinary. Bree Delacruz is an Akashic record reader, sacred quantum energy healer, and a clinical hypnotherapist in training whose work bridges lifetimes, timelines, and transformation. With roots in deep ancestral healing and spirit communication, Bree helped seeker align with their highest timeline, clear energetic blocks, and unlock the wisdom of the soul's journey. If you have been craving soul level clarity, this conversation is your invitation inward. Thank you so much for joining us, Bree. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited as well.
Mhm. So, Bree, your journey into Akashic Records and quantum healing is so fascinating. What was your first moment of realization you could access these realms, and how did it transform you?
Yeah, so I come from a lineage of healers and intuitives, and so it's always been within my family, but it was throughout my own healing journey of, not feeling fulfilled and satisfied in my job, living in a hometown that just didn't resonate with me anymore, and being in a long-term relationship that I knew no longer was aligned. I sought out my own healers, and throughout that healing journey, I came across a few that offered courses. And truly, I was just wanting to learn for myself to see if I can open up my own records and receive guidance for myself. But throughout that journey and throughout those courses, we practiced with other classmates. And with practicing with them and with friends and family, I quickly realized that I had the ability to help others and to read for others and to help others heal. And so this is a whole nother story, but from my grandpa's healing journey with energy healing and me realizing that I also had a gift to share, I knew at that point that I couldn't just keep these gifts for myself. I knew I had a bigger calling to help others and to help the collective.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, was there a guide, a dream, or a life event that acted as a portal for your awakening?
Yes, it was a life event. So this happened when I was 10, 11 years old. I used to live with my grandparents part time at the time. And my grandfather, he was super strong. He loved Bruce Lee and had Bruce Lee posters all over his at home gym and used to work out every single day, very health conscious. But he was experiencing headaches. And so he went to the doctor. And at 57 years old, they told him that he had stage 4 brain cancer and had a tumor in his brain about the size of a golf ball. He did 33 rounds of chemotherapy and took scans again after the 33rd round, and the tumor didn't change in size. And so they said, you have 6 months left to live. And so at that point, he wanted to go back home to the Philippines to visit his mom, who was still living, and essentially visit everyone for the last time. He went back home, and my great grandmother brought a few healers and shamans from the community to the house to help heal him for 7 days straight, for 7 hours a day. They did energy healings and energy work on him. When he got to the Philippines at this point, he, had 6 months left to live, couldn't walk, was feeding out of a tube, couldn't even change his clothes, and he was gray. But after the third day of energy healings, he was able to walk again. And then he was able to start eating. And then after 7 days, he was able to walk around the perimeter of the home and eventually start driving again. He came back to Canada after this trip, ran tests with the doctors, of course, as a checkup, and they realized that the tumor was gone. no longer in the scans, diminished, gone. The doctor didn't understand what happened and couldn't advise, to continue with these alternative healings from his medical perspective. But he said, whatever you're doing, just keep on doing it. And my grandfather is still living today. He's 78 years old. But watching this happen to him and for him at this young age that I was really just shifted my perspective completely and opened my eyes to alternative healing. And yeah, since then, I've just been so curious to continue learning about other modalities.
It's so powerful how soul gifts often reveal through themselves through both challenges and calling.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm. So, you explore future timelines and free will in your session. How do the Akashic records help someone choose or shift into their highest path?
Yeah, so the Akashic Records are beautiful because they're essentially a reading about your soul, the past lives your soul has lived, and future possible timelines for you in this lifetime. And so, what your guides will do is they'll often speak about your current timeline and any challenges that you might be going through. But they'll also highlight future possible timelines, and which are often higher possible timelines that are available to you. And so the reason why they do this is because they want you to know what's available to you, what your highest possible timelines look like, and provide guidance for how to get there. So it could be, take action here or call this person or, move to this city. But at the end of the day, we all are humans and have free will and choice. So we can choose to listen to the guidance. We can choose to take what we want to hear from the guidance. And of course, choose to take action on what aligns with us and what we want to take action on. And so, although we're shown these timelines and future possible timelines, they're shown to us because they're readily available to us. Um, but it's up to us if we want to believe in that possible timeline and if we want to take action towards that possible timeline.
Absolutely. So, can people really alter what's coming? Or is it about aligning with a deeper knowing that already exists?
I think it's a little bit of both. So I think that, it comes down to belief. And if somebody believes that that future is possible for them, um, and that's like 90%, in my opinion, of the work. And then, of course, it also comes with the 10% aligned action. And so, of course, as humans, we have free will and free choice, and we can, make our life look like whatever we want it to look like, given our belief systems of what we believe is possible and the aligned actions that we take.
hmm It's so empowering to see the future not as fixed, but as a canvas for co creation.
Exactly. It is all about co-creation because we definitely do have the ability to make our future look like whatever we want it to look like. But I love the Akashic Records because they really show us what our future timelines look like, what's available to us, and provides us guidance for how we can get there. Because I feel like a lot of the time, people will come and get readings. And for those who are in alignment with the belief of that's the future possible timeline, and of course take some aligned action along the way, they absolutely jump onto that highest potential timeline. But for those who may not have the belief or have that self doubt, as a lot of us humans do, it is a little bit more difficult to hop onto that higher timeline.
Absolutely. So, past lives hold clues to our current experiences. What's one pattern you often see repeating for clients? And How can awareness break that cycle?
Yeah, that's a great question. Something that I often see, two things that I often see actually are soul families. And so your soul has lived many lifetimes, but throughout those lifetimes, they often have the same souls that are repeating throughout those lifetimes. And so, for example, I had a client and what their current partner in this lifetime, their current husband in this lifetime, in a past lifetime was actually their son, many times in their past lifetime. And that brought a lot of clarity into what they were going through throughout their relationship and the dynamics of their relationship. Because in many past lives, her husband was her son in her past life. And so she treated him much like a son. And those same similarities of those dynamics in those past lives ended up being in her marriage in this lifetime. So having that clarity really helps people understand where it's coming from because it's deeper usually than what's on the surface of what's happening in this current life. It really does go back to past lifetimes. And that's the root of where some of these patterns and behaviors come from. And then, secondly, I also see that most often we will have similar lessons that we've experienced in past lives. So, for me, for example, it could be a lesson of this is something that I've worked through, but the lesson of not feeling enough that has occurred in many past lives before. Um, or feeling like I can't show my gifts to the world. That's something that showed up in many past lives. And so being aware of that in this current lifetime is empowering because it helps you understand where it's coming from and knowing that it's not just coming from you in this life, knowing that you can start to clear what you don't want to take forward from those past lives and what you do want to bring forward. So it does bring a lot of empowerment because you have the choice to be able to then know and understand what the issue is or what the challenge is or what the repeated pattern is and decide whether or not you want to repeat it or you want to break that cycle.
That's so fascinating.
Hmm.
So, how can someone know if a challenge they are facing has roots in a past life?
Yeah, well, of course, opening up their Akashic records definitely provides them that clarity. Most of the time, when you open up the records, they will draw parallels to your past lives and something or a pattern that you've gone through in that past life. Your guides will bring that forward during a reading. The reason why they're showing you that in a reading is because it relates to something that you're going through in this lifetime. And so, through Akashic Record readings, that's where you'll get to understand what those patterns were from past lives and how they're impacting your current timeline.
It's like soul deja vu. When we heal what we couldn't finish before, we evolve with grace.
Yeah, exactly. I like that term, soul deja vu. That's exactly it. Um, and what's interesting too is people will speak about soulmates and soul families and the fact that they recognize souls and they can't quite put their finger on it. That's a without opening the records, that's an indication that you spent a past life with somebody. If their soul feels very familiar, even though you've just met them, or even if you don't know them that well, that's definitely an indicator that you've spent a past life together. And then, of course, you can ask those types of questions too in your Akashic reading.
Definitely. So, you blend Akashic Records with quantum manifestation and energy work. How does this fusion amplify healing and transformation?
Yeah, so I offer three main services because I wanted to be able to help someone mind, body, and soul. So, soul, we work through the Akashic Records so that they can gain an understanding of their soul, their soul purpose, their past lives, and how it's impacting their current. Body, I really like to help people with energy healing and energy work to help clear the energetic blockages, and also help heal the physical ailments in the physical body. And then mind, that's where hypnotherapy comes into play because that is when we start to rewire the neural pathways in the brain, and create new pathways within the mind because it all works together. But rewiring those pathways in the brain leads to new thoughts lead to new behaviors leads to new energy and a change in frequency, which then you'll start seeing changes in your body usually, um, which then brings you more into alignment with that higher timeline or your soul's purpose or whatever you're trying to align with, from your Akashic reading.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bree, can you share a success story where this blend helped someone radically shift their life?
Yeah, absolutely. I do have a client. Um, I just try not to share too much of my client's information, but I can speak to it on a summarized level. But this client has gone through a lot. She unfortunately went through an unfortunate event with other intuitives and healers, but I won't get too much into that. But it left her feeling very drained and out of alignment. She had physical body issues, um, which led to, of course, uh, changes in frequency and changes in thought, and just really left her in a lower vibrational state than what she's used to feeling. Through energy healing and through the Akashic Records, it's really helped her fall back into alignment by clearing those energetic blockages, by helping her physical pains and ailments that she's been going through. And also by opening the records, we just gain more clarity about, what future steps look like for her healing journey. And so when she came to me, she had been in this state for a few years. And since then, her healing has been radically quick. So I'm really excited for her to continue her healing journey too.
Yeah, I love how multidimensional healing allows us to rewrite our energetic blueprint.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm. So, for someone feeling stuck spiritually or emotionally, what message would you channel for them from the records right now?
I would say to just tap into what you think your soul is wanting for you. And so, for example, a lot of people experience stress and anxiety, but I encourage you to tap into that a little further and see if your soul can tell you where that's coming from. Because once you understand the root cause of what's driving that emotion that you don't want, it's a little bit easier to then figure out ways for how to manage it or for how to shift out of that emotion and feeling. And so, for example, if someone is feeling anxiety, but they know that it's driven from how they feel in their career, they can then move forward in understanding how to shift their perspective, shift potentially out of that timeline, and fall into alignment with their highest timeline.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, what's one daily practice to deepen the connection to our own divine guidance?
Yeah, of course, I would say that meditation is a great way to tap in, but I know that meditation doesn't work for everybody. So I think there are three things that you can really try. So I would say to meditate, and try to connect with yourself and your highest self. If meditation doesn't work for you, then I would actually say walking meditation. So you can often listen to guided meditations while walking if activity helps clear your mind. And then thirdly, journaling. See if you can start to automatic write. And so whatever comes to mind, don't judge it, just write it down and do this for at least 2 weeks and just see what comes from it and what the journal is saying back to you. Because a lot of the times when we automatic write and we're not forcing anything to come out, we're just letting it free flow onto the paper, we can receive a lot of guidance from that.
Yeah, and sometimes stillness is the loudest conversation our soul has been waiting to have.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm. So, thank you so much, Bree Delacruz, for guiding us across dimensions and timelines to discover the truth that's already within us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was a great conversation.
Absolutely. And explore Bree's offerings, book a soul sign Akashic reading, or dive into quantum healing at. So, until next time, trust the whispers of your spirit, align with your highest self, and let your sacred path unfold in harmony.